The headlines today exclusive. We get you details of how the government has amended the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill to blunt the opposition's attack that led to both houses being adjourned today, which is the day one of the winter session of Parliament. The word majority and minority, that were the main sticking points, have been omitted. Also, the government has said that the role of the centre will be limited to that of a coordinator and the federal structure will not be violated, as has been alleged by the BJP. Alright, crucial amendments to the Communal Violence Bill being made by the Congress following ruckus in Parliament today after the Prime Minister said that he was hoping for a consensus on the controversial bill. Headlines today is now getting you exclusive details of how it has been amended. Majority and minority words like these have been removed from the bill. Also, the government is now saying that the role of the centre will be limited to that of coordinator and that the federal structure will not be violated, which means that law and order will continue to be the prerogative of the state government, but the centre will act as coordinator and help in assisting the state in situations of communal violence. This is the big story that we are tracking this evening on Headlines Today. It's an exclusive. We're getting you details of how the government has amended the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill in an attempt to blunt the attack of the opposition. We're being told that words like majority and minority, that the main sticking points, have been omitted. Remember, the opposition had claimed that this bill was biased towards minorities and would actually work against the majority community. This was the main point being pushed by the BJP. In an attempt to blunt that attack, it seems the government has now removed words like majority and minority community. Also, the government is saying that the role of the centre will be limited to that of a coordinator and that the federal structure will not be violated. This was one of the contentious points in the bill. Opposition parties had alleged that this would if the state was to take over the law and order situation, it would violate the federal structure of our country. This morning, in fact, we heard ruckus in both houses of Parliament after the Prime Minister's statement that he was hoping to achieve a consensus on the controversial Prevention of Communal Violence Bill. The ruckus led to adjournment of both houses on day one of the winter session of Parliament. For more, let's get in a word from our correspondent Kamaljeet Sandhu, who's joining us this evening. Kamaljeet, you're getting us some exclusive details of how the government is trying to blunt the BJP's attack on the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill.
Well, definitely, after Narendra Modi wrote a letter to the Prime Minister saying that this Prevention of Communal Violence Bill is basically divisive, the centre has actually really hit back, giving out details of this particular communal violence bill. And remember, it was discussed on Tuesday by the Home Secretary with representatives of various states, including that of Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal. All these states who actually had objection to this particular bill. One, they're clearly saying that this is not impinging on the federal structure, that it is more that the state is responsible for getting in paramilitary forces. So earlier, if the centre could actually rush in forces in any communal violence, now they will really wait for the state to give a green signal or seek extra additional paramilitary forces. Only then will centre actually send it. The other part being that earlier it was specified that what is majority and minority community, and in case of communal violence, the onus and responsibility will lie with the majority community. But now this has been made neutral. There is no word use of a community as such. There is no majority, no minority community. And obviously, going by the specifics of it, there is also breach of command in which the officers, whether they make any mistakes, or for that matter, if they do not respond in certain situation, they will be made responsible. So yes, in that sort of sense, if we really have a look, there are a lot of details which have been given. There is an increased compensation given by the government in case of if there is a death, there is rape, there is other instances. So yes, there is a lot of change. But definitely, they are heating out not only at Narendra Modi, but all others who are saying that this is actually against the federal system.
All right, so the government basically trying to accommodate the arguments of the opposition. But Kamaljeet, another argument would be that these amendments will reduce the overarching body which they were trying to set up under the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill into a toothless tiger.
Well, a lot of changes being made, and these have been accommodated because many of the states had objections saying that law and order is basically a state subject, that there should be minimum state center interference. In that sense, if you really have a look, center has accommodated a lot of these considerations, and what we also know now is that as such, the main responsibility now lies with the state. Even the officer, for that matter, public servant, or anybody who's having a chain of responsibility. We can take many instances in terms of Muzaffarnagar violence, where a lot of people said that the police really acted late, the SP did not act on time. So in that sense, there would be a command of responsibility, and people who acted or did not act, again, public servant, if he's interfering or too much interference, this is something which will be looked into. But there is also another point where they're saying that the officers will fail to act because they will think that perhaps they will be blamed too much if they actually act. So they would be blamed for interference. The other part is that many are taking example of Godhra, where a lot of officers raised that particular question, that the government had asked them to act in a certain way. So yes, there are pros and there are cons to it, but this communal violence bill is aimed to really look into certain aspects and make the state more responsible.
All right, but Kamalji, I want to ask you, if the words minority and majority are removed, and if the state is only acting as a coordinator, will wait for a signal from the state government, how does that any different from the status quo that currently exists?
Well, in the 2005 Prevention of Communal Violence Bill, there were youths of majority and minority community, which they said was very divisive. This was implying that the onus and responsibility lied with the majority community. So that has been taken out because it was deemed as controversial. Now the majority and minority words are not there. This is community neutral. So there would be people who were perpetrators, there would be people who are actually victims. So the wording has been changed. The other part being that the state has been made more responsible. So yes, earlier if the center could actually act on its own and rush the forces, they will wait for the state to really respond, saying, okay, we can take a control of a certain situation. If things are going out of hand, they will actually reach out to the center, ask them to send some additional forces. Again, a breach of command responsibility, as I mentioned earlier, is specified to make the public servant, officer, or for that matter, a politician, more responsible. If they're interfering too much, if there is a complaint, that would be probed into. An SP has been made, or a commissioner of police, or for that matter, a district magistrate has been made responsible for a certain area, saying that they can actually have a certain communally disturbed act for a period of 60 days, and they can actually additionally have it for another 60 days if that there is a requirement, but there could not be a continuity of just the Disturbed Area Act itself. So yes, in terms of specifics, they've gone into details. They're trying to say that they're trying to make it as less controversial as possible. But we know, as far as even the discussions on Tuesday was concerned, states like Tamil Nadu, like West Bengal, Gujarat were opposed to it. But whatever points Narendra Modi made, saying this is against the federal system, whether it was really divisive, is something that the Home Ministry at this point of time is countering.
All right, so arguments made against the bill by the opposition are being taken into account, into consideration by the government. This is what we also heard from Veerappa Moily, saying that the government is working towards a consensus. Kamalji, thanks so much for those details. We'll continue tracking developments with you.